Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Sonal Bhutra. With me is Harmas Patakia. Well, a good start to the new financial year, new week, new expiry as well, or new month in terms of expiry. So a lot that is taking place in the markets. Let's get going.
What's not new is that the broader markets are outperforming as they continue to do so. But let's take a look at the headlines first up. Stocks jump after the long weekend with realty and metal stocks leading the charge, even as consumer durables and FMCG lag. The broader markets, as usual, are outperforming.
Midhani records highest ever sales of 1,665 crores in FY24, which is up 22% on a YY basis. Direct exports rise over 80%. The stock is higher by 5% in trade today.
Garden Reed Shipbuilder surges as provisional numbers show an annual turnover touching a new high of 3,400 crore rupees with a 33% growth on a year-on-year basis.
Upgrades by rating agencies propel PNB Housing Finance, Care and ICRA upgrade rating to AA+ from AA. Morgan Stanley issues an overweight rating with a target of 970 rupees a share.
And Prestige Estates gains over 6% after inking investment deals worth over 2,000 crore rupees with the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority and the Kotak AIF to develop projects with a gross development value of 18,000 crore rupees across 4 cities.
Okay, all right. Those are the top headlines. But for the markets, as we were discussing, it continues to look like a good day. The Nifty is off around 60 points from the highs, but still it is steady at around those 22,467 levels, 140 points higher on the Nifty. The mid-cap index too is the one which is outperforming yet again. So 765 points higher on the mid-cap index. That's a gain of 1.6%. The Bank Nifty is not behind as well. That index is up around 0.9%. It's outperforming the benchmarks as well. And you name the index, be it Nifty Realty, which is up 4%, be it Nifty Media, which is up 3%. You have Nifty Metals, which is seeing gains of around 3%, and a lot of broader market movers. In fact, even the small cap index is up 2.5%. So I think 15 days back, there was so much conversation around those stress tests, mid caps and small caps falling. And now look at them. They've made a comeback.
It's a matter of time, right? And the mid cap index, as you were saying, 2.5% higher. So is the 1.5% higher, beg your pardon. The small cap index is up 2.5%. That pull up certain stocks as well, and those stocks, BSE is one of them. It's had a record high in today's session, and Jefferies in November of last year had given a 2,700 rupee price target. It has already surpassed that at the day's high, which was of 2,709. So strong going for BSE. But in our segment Midcap Movers, Nigel is joining us to take us through the midcaps that are moving around in trade today. Nigel, I won't ask you what is the exclusive story, source based. Tell us what's moving around this afternoon.
But there's one, right?
I'm sure you do.
All right. Well, let's run you through all the big movers in today's trading session. Your TVS Electronics, that stock is up and about in today's trading session. Massive volumes up there, out close to around 14%. Axis Gates, that's been the big outperformer actually in the last 18 months or so. The stock is up close to around 6 times. It took a bit of a breather, and today it's continued its winning ways up close to around 13%. Suraj Estate, well, that was one of the disappointing IPOs. It listed and then it saw a sharp correction. The results that came last week weren't too bad. That stock has popped up close to around 15%. Some kind of a bounce is what we are seeing. JM Breweries, today they announced on the exchanges that in fact they've been looking at a bonus. The street likes the announcement itself. The stock is already up close to around 13% as we speak. PSU miners, they're up and about in today's trading session. One would argue that, iron ore prices, they hit multi-month lows over the weekend. But just take a look at this. All those PSU miners are moving up. Basically, the PSU team continues to move ahead. And with China, some bit of recovery in sight, at least the recent data points, that could explain why some of these stocks are doing well. NMDC Steel, you have Hindustan Copper as well as Nalco, all of them buzzing in trade today. And finally, a few more gainers to wind this down. You have Vodafone Idea, Indus Stars, HCC, DCW, as well as IRDA. All of them up and about. IRDA, by the way, is locked in upper circuit. I tried to search for some losers, but too few out there. So we'll stick to the big movers, and that too on the upside. Back to you guys.
Okay, all right. But I really want to know what that exclusive news is. So I'll speak to both of you off air. But thank you so much, Nigel, for joining us. So those are some movers in the broader markets. It's a good time to welcome Ashish Kyal of Wave Strategy Advisors for a technical check on the market. Ashish, good afternoon. What is suggesting this big up move? Is it something which would continue? What are the next important levels to watch out for on the Nifty as well?
Hi, afternoon to you and all the viewers. If you look at Nifty, I think over past 3 days, we have seen a very smart move on the upside. And today we got a gap up opening and markets are sustaining that. So that's a positive sign. There are some call build up happening at around 22,500. There are still short callers at 22,500, which have been clobbered in the past. If you can see the entire movement of the past, few days, the call sellers have been panicking. So I think overall there can be some kind of a 22,520 can be a resistance on the upside, but I think dips over here should be used as a buying opportunity. Eventually, we can move towards the level of 22,670. That's a target basis of inverse head and shoulder pattern breakout. So 22,670 is remaining my target. Any dip over here that you can get around 22,400 is a buying opportunity, and maintain a stop loss of around 22,250 on the downside.
What about specific stocks, Ashish? Metals, real estate, what's picking your fancy?
If you look at today, everything is buzzing. I mean, you can pick up stock selection in today's market is relatively easier because everything is buzzing around. If you look at metal sector, or if you look at the PSB sectors or any other space. So the first stock pick is going to be IRCTC from the mid-cap space. We can see after a lot of consolidation over past many weeks, the stock is giving a very strong breakout in today's session. Good volumes picking up, bouncing from that important moving averages. I think IRCTC can head towards the target of 1,035 on the upside and maintain a stop loss of 930 on the downside. The next stock is going to be IRB Infra. We can clearly see the stock has shown a very strong breakout today. Again, consolidated in the form of a flag pattern. Volumes are decent enough. So the stock can run up towards the level of 66. That can be the target for IRB. Maintain a stop loss at 59.50.
Okay, all right. So those are two stock picks as well coming in from Ashish, and we keep seeing this momentum in some of these names as well. So we'll do one thing, we'll slip into a break, but when we come back, there are a whole host of stocks which are moving around in trade. Dynamatic Tech is the other one, mid-cap spotlight segment that will be, but stay tuned for that. We'll come back with more details on that.
Welcome back. You're watching Midcap Radar here on CNBC-TV18. Pull up all the shipbuilding stocks, and they are doing extremely well in today's trading session. After that update from Garden Reach, where its revenue grew 33% year on year, there you can see Cochin Shipyard 11% higher. Similar gains coming in for Garden Reach as well, and also for Mazagon Dock. So all three shipbuilders doing very well for themselves. Garden Reach is up 6%. They reported that 33% revenue growth in FY24, and Mazagon Dock also surging to the highest point of the day, 8.5% higher in today's session. But in our mid-cap spotlight, Vamakshi is joining in to focus on Dynamatic Technologies. The stock is up over 4% after brokerage ICICI Securities initiated coverage with bullish calls. Vamakshi, tell us more about the stock.
Well, yes, Ormas, the stock is up and away in the trading session today. There's brokerage note that came in from ICICI Securities, and they have highlighted that the company operates in mainly three segments, which includes hydraulics, aerospace and defense, and metallurgy. Now, each segment contributes nearly 1/3 of the revenue for the company, but they believe that the aerospace segment is expected to likely drive to earnings growth ahead. The company is the sole supplier of FTBs, that is flap track beams for Airbus's nearly 86% order backlog. In fact, recent order wins for flight critical aerostructures signify higher participation in the supply chain of global aerospace OEMs. Increasing potential of regional connectivity in India is also likely to open up a market for the company in the near future. The total order book, according to ICICI Securities, stands at around 16,000 to 17,000 crores, and the order book for the aerospace business is somewhere around 11 to 12,000 crores, which is expected to be executed over the next 10 years. So there's a good visibility as far as the revenues are concerned. In fact, they expect overall revenue to triple for the company and aerospace to double over the next 10 years as compared to FY23. The share of revenue for aerospace and defense is also expected to rise from around 34% in FY23 to 45% by FY30. As far as the other two divisions are concerned, they are also turning a fresh leaf. They're expecting demand megatrends for tractor as well as construction equipment to be quite strong, which is why this is a positive for their hydraulics division. But apart from that, their metallurgy division, the company continues to gain from Germany, revving up its defense spending. They will be requiring artillery shells, which are currently under development at its Erla site. They're expecting gross debt to come off by almost 25% on a year-on-year basis at 350 crores by March 24. significant free cash flow generation is also likely to make the company net cash by FY27. Recent order wins will likely propel the EBITDA to nearly double of FY23 by FY27, and in fact the EBITDA margin is also expected to improve to around 17 to 18% as compared to the last 5-year average of 13%. There's also comfort as far as the valuations are concerned. Company trades at some 35 times FY26 EPS as compared to nearly 45 to 60 times to other peers in the aerospace ecosystem. So largely a positive note coming in from ICICI Securities on Dynamatic Tech.
Okay, up and away. Thank you so much, Vamakshi, for joining us with that update. The other stock on our radar is GM Breweries. That one is also doing well in trade today. The board will meet on April 4th. There are a couple of things they will consider here. The stock is up 13%. Hormas, tell us more, and we kickstart the earnings seasons as well.
Every time GM Breweries comes up with an announcement, we know earnings season is about to begin.
Yes.
It's the first one always. But the trigger for today, other than the earnings, is the fact that they're going to consider a bonus issue when they meet on the 4th of April. And that is the reason why the stock is up 13% now. It's the biggest single day gain that the stock has seen since October of 2021. So good going for GM Breweries. And it's not the first time that it's considering a bonus issue. As you can see, it has considered 3 bonus issues in the past, all in the ratio of 1:4. So they've given 1 bonus share for every 4 shares held in 2014, 2016 and 2018. So this will be the first bonus issue in 6 years for GM Breweries. So aside of earnings and the bonus, they are also going to consider a dividend proposal. So in the previous instances, as you can see, their dividend payout has also increased over the last 3 years. From 4 rupees last year, they gave a 6 rupee payout. So another positive trigger there for GM Breweries. But in the last quarter, the December quarter was not very good for the company. The stock had collapsed after the earnings came out. The net profit was down 13%. Revenues were also flat. The operational performance was also impacted. On the charts also, today's surge has taken the stock well above its key moving averages, and it has now, from, if you map the chart from the October 2023 peak to the March of 2024, the low that it made, it's now reaching that 61.8% retracement of 721. 719 is the day's high, so it is finding a bit of resistance at that 61.8% retracement. And from that March 14 low of 580, the stock has now rebounded almost 22%. So as a result of this move, when you see the valuation picture on a current year price to earnings multiple, the stock is trading at 12.95 times, which is higher than the 5-year price to earnings average of around 11.3 times. Not a significant gap, but still trading higher nonetheless. So earnings season about to kickstart. GM Breweries 13% higher. No one can complain.
And this is going to be a very busy one, right? Goes on till 31st May, the annual numbers as well. So we are all ready to take that up. But before that, let's talk about Tata Industries as well. That one is also higher in trade. Centrum Broking has initiated coverage on the stock. A busy day for Vamakshi as well. She's back with us to tell us what Centrum is saying.
Well, absolutely, Sonal. A busy day for all of us. Tata Industries and focus on the back of a brokerage note that came in from Centrum Broking, like you rightly pointed out. Now, keep in mind that Tata Industries is one of the leading manufacturers and distributors of specialized critical to operate consumables. The products are used in global mining, minerals, as well as bulk solids handling industry. It is the second largest player in manufacturing of polymer-based mill liners and the 5th largest in the overall mill liner industry. Now, Centrum is appearing to be quite bullish on this counter, and that is on the back of a couple of factors. The first one being that consumable product offerings that the company has provide structural growth prospects. So the growth is not cyclical in nature, but it is in fact isolated from the volatility that we see in the commodity prices. Apart from that, the company has multiple growth catalysts which will enable it to outpace the growth that is seen in its peers, geographic expansion being the first one. They will be commissioning a new plant in Chile by almost April 2025, and this plant could generate a sales potential of almost 800 crores at full capacity utilization. They've also incorporated a new subsidiary in Peru, and Peru has substantial mineral reserves, which in turn provides a significant business opportunity for Tata Industries. The company has also been gaining market share quite rapidly in the past. Currently, the market share has risen to 8 to 8.5% as compared to nearly 5% 3 years ago. And this success is largely led by their distribution of Dynaprime. They've also launched new smart product offerings and they have been moved from the R&D phase to the testing phase, and they will be commercially launched in FY25. So there's another positive trigger out there as well. They also see some huge scale-up opportunity in McNally's equipment business. Overall, given all of these factors, they're expecting the company to register at 18% revenue and 30% earnings CAGR from FY24 to 26. EBITDA margin profile of nearly 21 to 20%, 22% is expected to drive nearly 300 basis points expansion in ROE to nearly 20% over the next 3 years. So Centrum is definitely appearing to be quite bullish on Tega Industries.
Pretty bullish. Thank you, Amakshi, for joining in. 2.5 times now from its IPO price is Tega Industries, now 1268 now compared to its IPO price of around 455. So a rank outperformer from its IPO price is Tega Industries. But some other stocks that are also buzzing in today's session, I just highlighted some shipbuilders. Garden Reach is one of them. And along with that, there is Midani and Torrent Power that are also buzzing on the back of news updates. Upasana is now joining us with more details. Upasana, tell us more.
First up, let me start with Garden Reach. The company has come up with its FY24 provisional numbers, and FY24 annual turnover touches a new record high of almost 3,400 crores with a growth of almost 33% on a Y-on-Y basis. The company has also declared an interim dividend of almost 79% of the paid up share capital in FY24 versus 55% in FY23. While the company says that the FY24 has been a remarkable year in terms of the financial performance of the company, hence this stock will remain in focus today. Next up is Midani. Even this company has come up with its FY24 provisional numbers. It has registered a record highest ever sales of almost 1,065 crores versus 872 crores with a growth of almost 22% on Y-on-Y basis, and direct exports also provisionally stood at 67 crores with a growth of almost 81% on a Y-on-Y basis. Well, lastly, coming to Torrent Power, the company has received a letter of award worth almost 1,825 crores from Torrent Power Distribution Unit. And it says that it is mainly for setting up of 150 megawatt grid-connected wind-solar hybrid project under the Green Shoe option. Well, that's the reason even Torrent Power will remain in focus today.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Upasana, for giving us all those details. By the way, a couple of stocks in the broader markets which are seeing a big surge. Best AgroLife, that stock is logged in upper circuit 20% higher. It's been an underperformer in the agrochemical space so far. This year, it's down 35%. But today, considering the mood of the market, it has made a comeback. There were some issues with cash flows. There were some issues in the balance sheet as well. But today, the stock seems to make a comeback and logged in upper circuit. Look at that. Philatex Fashions, that's the other one. That one is higher by 18% as well. That one too has been an underperformer this last month, down 18%. So that one is seeing some comeback. We also have Delta Corp, which is up 12% in trade. So that one is higher as well. KRBL is the other one, which is surging up around 11%. Gandhar Oil is the other one, which was a recent listing, listed in the month of December. It's up 10%. The listing was stable. I wouldn't say it was like one of those blockbuster listings. But this one is doing well today. This month, it was down 7.5%. So as I've been saying, there's a whole host of stocks buzzing around in the broader market, some without any reason as well.
Maybe Delta Corp is cheering the fact that it's no longer in the FNO. So good going for Delta Corp, and as Gandhar you mentioned, it just takes me back to those days when we had 5 IPOs in 1 week, including Tata Technologies. And Gandhar Oil was one of those IPOs as well. Plenty of movers in the broader markets in today's session. But as we slip into a short break, we have an announcement to share with you all. We are launching CNBC-TV18's first ever live personal finance webinar, CNBC-TV18 Accelerate the Personal Finance Handbook with Sonia Shenoy, where she'll be joined by 3 well-known experts on Saturday, the 11th of May at 9 a.m. onwards. We'll be diving into everything you need to know to master your finances and learn how to grow your wealth, be it insurance, tax saving, managing your portfolio, retirement planning. There's a lot to learn and lots to do as well. Whether you're in your 20s, 30s or even your 40s, this live webinar is for you. We have limited seats, so don't miss this chance. Register now. Scan the QR code to register or log on to cnbctv18.com, and we'll see you on the 11th of May.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Midcap Radar. Well, the other stock on our radar today, Suven Pharma. Jefferies had hosted an analyst day on March 27 in the presence of the new senior management. Ekta is here to get us more details on this. Ekta, tell us what were the takeaways?
Well, yes, I'm watching Suven Pharma in today's trading session. Jefferies has written a note on Suven Pharma. They, in fact, hosted an analyst day on the 27th of March. And this particular analyst day had the presence of new senior management, and it included a plant visit. Remember that Suven Pharma is currently owned by the private equity firm Advent, which took over the company some time ago. And they also were in focus because they recently announced merger plans with Cohance Life Sciences, which is an arm which is owned separately by Advent as well. Now, a couple of key takeaways from the analyst meet was that diversification, in fact, is a real trend according to the company, and innovators are, in fact, looking at new geographies for supplies. Separately, they believe that Cohance has significant capabilities and technical expertise when it comes to the ADC payload manufacturing. ADC payload manufacturing is basically anti-drug conjugates. Anti-drug conjugates is a type of drug. It's a monoclonal antibody, and there is a lot of traction which is actually being seen within this particular space across therapy areas, and hence there was a lot of expectation that when this merger was announced, that Suven would benefit quite significantly from Cohance Life Sciences capabilities in ADC. So that is something that they reiterated in the analyst day, and that's why Suven Pharma is in focus in today's trading session.
Not a very good day for Suven Pharma on a day when almost every other stock in the broader market is up 5, 6, 7%, even 10%. Suven Pharma is down 1.5%. So this is one of the losers in the broader markets in today's trading session. But also let's shift focus to high-tech pipes, which saw its highest ever sales volume in the fourth quarter and also in FY24. And brokerage Antique has also initiated coverage with bullish calls on the stock. Earlier today, we spoke to Anish Bansal, the CEO, beg your pardon, of high-tech pipes. Listen into excerpts from that conversation.
The new facility at Sanand, we have added approximately 1.25 lakhs to 1.5 lakh tons at Sanand facility, and I'm sure that the company will contribute at least lakh to 1.5 lakh tons extra over FY24. And regarding EBITDA per ton, you can see that the company's EBITDA per ton is growing steadily year on year. And I think within this year, our target is around 4 to 4,500 rupees per ton, EBITDA per ton. And with the new SKUs and new verticals, we are very optimistic and excited about the current financial year. Right now, we are working between 45 to 50 days, as you said. But going forward, our focus is towards further shrinking of this working capital. And I think 30 to 35 days is an optimistic number that we can consider for next 2 financial years. Over the last 2 to 3 years, we have while expanding, we have brought down our long-term debt, and I think in coming 1 to 2 years, we will be totally debt-free company. I'm talking about the long-term debt, and the working capital also, as the number of working capital days is shrinking, so the extra requirement of working capital will also, it will be stagnant where it is right now. So all in all, the financially, the balance sheet will look much improved going forward.
Okay, all right. That's the word coming in from high-tech pipes. The stock did well in the last 1 year. But what we'll do? We'll wrap on the show. As we do that, here's a quick programming note. CNBC-TV18 presents India Exchange, where market experts and industry stalwarts will collaborate in insightful discussion on India's economic path and the evolving dynamics of the Indian market. Don't miss out on this. Tune into CNBC-TV18 on April 4th, 5:30 p.m. onwards.